Welcome back to Parker, Arizona, and coverage of the APBA National Watercross Tour. It's round one as we're along the Colorado River, and Rob Flores, a 22-year racing veteran who took much of 2008 off, told us earlier about competing in the GP ski class.
You know, it suits me good because, you know, this is my 22nd year racing. We used to race what's called modified class. You can pretty much do the same thing, you know, 10 years ago. So I've already been in this situation before. So this type of, you know, craft suits me. I think some of the other people might be having a little, you know, harder time making the transition, but for me, I love it. It's the best thing they could have done for the sport.
So a chance to hear from Rob Flores, Dave, who won a pair of championships in both stock and then what was known as the open class back in 2007, took most of 2008 off, but admittedly so, he hasn't been on his ski competing since Nashville last year. So talk about a rider trying to get his legs back under him, Dave, how tough that is under duress of competition.
Well, you know, you have to, you know, do a lot of the cardio. You have to get out there. You have to train. But, you know, the biggest thing is riding, because you got to get used to the movement. You got to get used to your legs being the shock absorber out there. You got to get used to the motion of the boat, being able to switch your feet and position going in there. You'll watch a lot of these riders, you know, for left turns, but their left foot forward, right turns. Some guys don't switch feet. But Flores is one that's been, you know, that really moves around the tray, and that's one of the reasons he's been so successful.
Race action quickly winding down, and Jeff Wright closing in on an overall here, Dave.
Yeah, Jeff Wright's looking really smooth out there. But you mentioned Jeff Trogner. It's good to have Trogner out here. He's been part of the sport for so many years, it wouldn't be the same without him.
And a drag race to the finish line, and it's going to be Rob Flores just holding off last year's champion Rick Shirker as the checkered flag comes out. So a surprise here in round number one. Jeff Wright on top, finishing second overall was Rick Shirker, and the veteran Rob Flores finishes third.
It's a really good feeling to come out here and beat the top guys like Rob Flores, Rick Shirker, Trogner. Those guys are real fast, and to pull both hole shots and hold on to it in that second moto when it really counted was awesome.
In Pro-Am ski stock, Minoru Kanamori and 12-time overall world champion Chris McCluggage would vie for top honors from Parker, Arizona. And after David Boober McConnell got the hole shot, McCluggage and Kanamori would battle for second place, with Kanamori out-accelerating Big Mac along the back straightaway. Kanamori would then set his sights on the leader, Boober McConnell, and get past him along the same backstretch where he had just passed McCluggage a lap earlier. And Minoru Kanamori would sweep both motos 1 and 2 for the overall at Parker in Pro-Am ski stock.
Anything winning, like a happy ending.
And up next, Pro-Am Runabout Open. Here's the class specs. It's the biggest and fastest of all the runabout divisions. 2- and 4-stroke engines allowed, up to 1,600 cc's, and you'll see speeds in excess of 75 miles per hour. So with Jeff Wright surprising many in GP ski, time now for Pro Runabout as we take a look at Moto 1 highlights as Eric Francis of West Palm Beach, Florida would surprise a field that includes 3 world champions and grab the whole shot. Reigning 2-time defending world champion Craig Warner would ride second early on behind Francis, and later in the moto the 2-time defending world champion Dustin Farthing would be forced out. But coming from behind to win the opening moto would be Craig Warner from Corona, California. So is your 2-time defending world champion Craig Warner on top, followed by Eric Francis and then Arminio Iantoska. And let's now hear from our Moto 1 winner, Craig Warner.
There's some good, fast riders out there today, and it's going to be tough. I mean, this is going to be a long weekend, and we just got it fixed again, so we're going to go out and test. And hopefully everything stays together and we can come through with a win today and progress for tomorrow.
So Craig Warner looking for a clean sweep here in round number one after taking home the opening Moto 1 victory. 3 world champions on the line, including the 2-time defending world champion and Craig Warner, Dustin Farthing, and Chris McCluggage as well. So we should see a great final moto here for round number one as we're off racing, and the key is always get the whole shot as everybody heads towards the backstretch, and it looks like Craig Warner, the 2-time defending world champion, goes in the water, as does Dennis Mack. So Dave, carnage right off the bat, but they're going to allow the boat racers to continue on. No red flags out, although a yellow flag will be out, but you have to feel for Craig Warner.
Yeah, you can. You know, when you go into that tourney and you can't see anything, it's a wall of water, so you just have to sometimes just point your boat, squeeze, and pray, you know, and hope everybody else holds their line. I mean, that's just critical.
And for Dustin Farthing, he can tell you all about disappointment, Dave, in that opening moto, an 8th place finish, and that was on the heels of battling for a Moto 1 win, so we haven't seen the world champions battle for a win yet. Farthing with mechanical problems now here in Moto number 2. Craig Warner knocked off his boat, but smooth sailing so far for Dustin Farthing. He is 16-time world champion, and Eric Francis now, after a second-place finish in Moto 1, settling into second place here in Moto number 2.
Well, you know, of course, Dustin Farthing, it's no surprise, but, you know, Eric Francis, he's really come into his own now. Last year, getting up there, finishing second in points, and this year he's one of the odds-on favorites, along with, of course, Farthing and Warner. Warner, though, not sure how many of the rounds he's going to be doing. You know, everything for him is about getting that World Championship right now. But we're going to be seeing him on the West Coast for sure, and possibly back at the Nationals. That's what I'm hoping for.
So Eric Francis in second place. He tries to track down the leader, Dustin Farthing. Just getting underway. Pro Runabout. We'll have plenty more from Lake Havasu right after this.